I'd like to welcome everyone to our farm here in west central Indiana. We're located about 45 miles west of Indianapolis. My name is Mark Legan. My wife, my daughter, and son-in-law operate a soybean, corn, and pig farm here. Trade is very important to our farm, not only from the grain side, but from the meat side also. The grains on our farm, the soybeans, we are able to store most of them, and so about every 2 weeks we go through a semi-load of soybean meal to make feed for our pigs. And so we deliver soybeans to Frankfort, Indiana, to ADM, and we're able to backhaul soybean meal. All of the corn that we grow, or practically all of the corn we grow, is to feed the pigs on our farm, and we actually buy quite a bit of corn during the year in order to feed the pigs. So this past year we had a pretty decent harvest. Actually, for the last 5 years, we've had exceptional harvests in terms of yield. Last year, we had a dry finish, meaning a drought towards the end of the year that hurt some of the yields, but overall, we were happy with it. Grain quality was good, and we're looking forward to a good year this year as well. On a national basis, I'm a past board member of the National Pork Producer Council, and also currently serve as an executive committee member for the United States Meat Export Federation, representing the oilseed sector. That would be basically all soybean producers across the United States, and certainly appreciate their involvement with the Meat Export Federation. The U.S. Meat Export Federation basically is involved in promoting trade, primarily of beef and pork across the world. They have offices in, I believe it's like 80 different countries, large staff, and the idea is promoting meat exports from the United States. And the importance of that for the soybean farmer then is that there's a lot of soybeans that are moved through pork that go out of the country. About a third of the pigs we're producing right now go for export use, and that represents a large amount of soybean meal that we grow here in the United States. So one of the core values of our farm is stewardship, and we define stewardship as taking care of, and you fill in the blank, whether it's the pigs, the water, the soil. About 12 years ago, we started extensively using cover crops to help protect our soil. And not only that, but it allows us to keep the nutrients that are in place from our swine enterprise and recycle those for the following crop. So for the last 10 years or so, we've been primarily no-till using cover crops. You can see behind me, this is a field that was planted soybeans a week ago without any tillage into the crop residue from last year's corn. After harvest, we seeded cereal rye as a cover crop, and then we terminated that cereal rye here this spring prior to planting with chemicals so that we could plant into it. We have done some green planting, and we'll do some of that here this year as well, where we will go in and plant it first and then terminate the cover crops. Some of the benefits we found from the cover crops, in addition to helping protect the soil from erosion and also from recycling the nutrients, that we're able to improve the soil health. And so, you know, we're learning a lot about soil and the health of the soil, what's underneath that we can't see. The roots from the cover crop basically are alive all winter when we don't have a growing crop, and that can feed the microbes. It can help break up compaction. It can help add organic matter to the soil, and so we find some real benefit in doing this. You know, our goal is to leave the soil in better condition than what we found it, and hopefully the next generation, whether it's my son or my daughter and son-in-law or their children, will have a good, healthy soil to work with in the future. This is a no-till soybean field. This field was planted a week ago today, and there was no tillage whatsoever to this field. You can see the corn stalk residue, the cover crop residue. You can even see an earthworm in there. But you can also see the soybean seed that was planted a week ago and how it's germinated. And within the next week, that seed will come out of the ground and that will produce next year's crop or this year's crop. So when we talk about sustainability on our farm, one of the important things that we're able to do is recycle the nutrients from our pig operation. And basically in the fall and spring, we will inject manure into the fields. We'll seed a cover crop and then terminate that cover crop the next spring. 300 acres around the farm here, we've not had to use any inorganic fertilizer, phosphate or potash for the last 15 to 20 years. From time to time, we'll have to supplement some nitrogen on the corn, but when you talk about sustainability and this nutrient cycle from the pigs to the crops back to the pigs, you know, and the continuum there, it's a pretty important thing for our farm, and it's also a good story that we have to tell. We also grow pretty much all GMO, genetically modified crops on this farm. We're a commodity crop producing farm. The corn all goes for feed. The soybeans we take in, have processed into meal. We soil test every 2 years. The state of Indiana, for our manure management permit, requires us to soil test every 2 years where we apply manure, and then we also we test the manure for nutrients, and we apply at agronomic rates. Nitrogen is the limiting nutrient that we can apply to a corn crop until we get to a certain phosphorus level in the soil. So we work with a consulting agronomist that helps us make sure that we are not over applying nutrients, and whenever we inject the manure, we do it at agronomic rates. An important part of our farm is our pig operation, and we've got 2,200 sows right here. We produce about 60,000 weaned pigs a year. The baby pigs, when they leave here at about 3 weeks of old, they average 14 to 15 pounds, and they go to one of two other family farms that we partner with to grow those pigs out, and then they're marketed or harvested at a plant in Louisville, Kentucky.
So we're here with our sows, and these sows are pregnant and awaiting their turn to give birth to their piglets. And as they're here gestating, they're fed a special diet of corn, soybeans, and vitamins and minerals to meet their nutritional needs for them and the growing babies inside of them. And so then 115 days after they're bred, they'll give birth, and those pigs will nurse for about 21 days, and then they'll move on to another farm where they'll be raised to market weight. After they've been confirmed pregnant, they'll be moved into a pen of 10 sows here, where they'll stay together until just a few days before they give birth. And the sows that are pinned here together, they're due to have their babies about the same day, and they're about the same size and need the same nutrition. Our housing is set up to where the manure urine will go down here into our holding pit, and then we can hold that until we're ready to apply that to our field, and then basically analyze the nutrient content of the manure, and also soil test the fields where we're going to, and be able to match that growing crop's needs with the nutrients that we have available here in the sow manure. The little guy in front here was born this morning, and he weighs about 2 pounds. And then right behind him, this guy was born 21 days ago. He'll be weaned tomorrow, and he weighs about 15 pounds. So they grow very quickly in that first 3 weeks of life.
So behind me are the old sow lots, where 25 years ago the sows were out there rooting away, causing soil erosion. We've been able, since we built the buildings, get the sows up off the dirt lots. We can take better care of them. We can take better care of the land. And in fact, we've built a pond back here, a man-made wetland, and we've planted over 2,000 trees. When it comes to the crop side of our operation, we spend a good bit of time in the summer after the crop is planted, going through the machinery and actually getting it ready for the next year. Since we no-till everything, we have to feel that we need to take more care of the machinery than if we would be tilling the ground. It takes quite a bit more management to make sure that the details are taken care of. On behalf of my family and I would like to thank you for taking the time to visit our farm today, and we look forward to the time that you can visit in person. Have a good day.